it says to use 2 needle sizes larger than your main needle size. It says if you prefer a slimmer sleeve, feel free to use your main needle size rather than going up 2 sizes. I just want someone to tell me what to do. I don't want to make these decisions. Hi friends, hey everybody, welcome back to 4 Hooks 4 Loves. This is my YouTube channel where I like to just sit down once in a while and chat with everybody and share what I've been, working on in terms of my hobbies, mostly knitting and crocheting. Sometimes I get into other crafts too, but lately it's been knitting and crocheting. That's pretty much where my mind has been. So since the last podcast, I've tried to sort of be a little bit quaster. Okay, can't really speak. I've tried to get a lot of work done on my projects so that I could come to you a bit sooner rather than months at a time. So here we are a few weeks later and have some progress to show you on some of the projects that I showed you last time. So before we get started, I just want to say thank you so much to anyone who is new here. I am so happy that you decided to, click that little thumbnail and check this out and see what I'm all about. And I hope you enjoy what you see. And if you do, please don't forget to like and subscribe and, all that fun YouTube stuff. And hey, all you returning viewers, I don't forget about you. I am so thankful for you each and every day. I do this because it makes me happy, and I don't really have too many people in my life who enjoy or also do knitting or crocheting, so this is a way for me to just connect. So that's one of my goals for growing this channel, is because I just want to have more people to connect to with the same hobby. So without further ado, let's get started. As you can see, I'm in a tank top. It's been pretty warm weather here in Toronto, Canada. I have been enjoying some lovely weather this week. It's up in the mid to high 20s. That's degrees Celsius. And, that may not stick around. May is always up and down. A few weeks ago, we had weather up in the 30s, and then the week right after, it snowed. So you never know. But for now, it's warm. And also, I had the sliding door open here for some air, but I had to close it because my neighbor has some people in the backyard building a fence. So there was a lot of hammering. I could still hear a bit of it even with the doors closed, so I apologize if you hear anything, but I've been wanting to film this for a week now, and there's always something. So if I don't just do it, it's just not going to get done. And before we know it, 2 more months will go by, and that's life. So here we are, and let's just get started. So do I have any FOs? I'm not wearing any knitting today because, like I said, it's warm. So in terms of FOs, last time I showed you a half-finished object, or maybe it wasn't half-finished. Actually, I think I only had to Kitchener the toe. So here are the socks that I finished for one of my twin nieces. Aren't they adorable? Look at that. I made her shorties because, so they're going to be, the twins are going to be 19 next week, and they loved the socks that I made them for Christmas so much that they requested for their birthday more socks, of all things. I wish they would have given me more notice, because then I could have knit a fuller sock and also ordered had time, I would have had time to order like the self-striping yarn that I love, probably from Olipop Yarn, but I didn't have too much notice. So I just went around through all my scraps and I weighed them and found which ones I thought I had enough of to make a shorty pair. And I've never made shorties before, but I'm kind of stoked. Like, I'm pretty happy with how these turned out. Yeah, I think they'll like them. I think they're super cute. At first I was worried that there wouldn't be enough contrast between the color that I chose for the heel, toe, and cuff and the body, but I think there is. It's just subtle. So these yarns are, they're all in 80/20, and they are all from Spectrum Fiber. The main body one is called Club Tropicana, and the accent color is called Strawberry. They were part of a monthly club that I was getting a couple of years ago. So the way that I did these shorties, I should have checked my notes before doing this. I just hopped right on. So I believe I did 10 rows for the cuff. I cast on 57 stitches. The reason I did 57, I usually do 56, but I did 57 because I wanted to do a 2x1 cuff. I really like the way it looks. So I did a 2x1 cuff, and then after the 10 rows, the first row of the body, I did 1 stitch decrease. Like I knit one and then I did a 1 stitch decrease with an SSK to get the stitch count back down to 56. And then from there I knit 18 rows, and then I moved on to the heel flap and heel turn. It's just a slip stitch heel flap and heel turn. That's the only kind of heel that I've ever done, and it works for me. I'm very interested in trying like the shadow wrap heel. I had bought the pattern by Earth Tone Girls that has the instructions for that. I bought that a couple years ago, but I never made it yet because I kind of got into my groove now with this one, and like this is now a habit. Like I can make this one now without even having to really check a pattern. It's almost like ingrained in my memory. So it's just easy peasy for me, and I don't want to do something that's going to be more like difficult. And these fit really well, but I really love the look of the other ones. So I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a shot on my next ones for me, and then I'll see how they fit. I'm nervous they won't fit me well, but we'll see. We'll see. So after I did that, and then I picked up the stitches for the gusset, and so she is between like a 7.5 shoe size. So I knit the foot for 8 inches, and then I started the toe. And the reason I knit for 8 inches is because the sock shoe size charts that I checked, that I Googled, that's what they told me to do. The majority of them. A lot of them were different, so I went with the average. And that's what we got. And I think they look great. So I think she's gonna really love them. All right. That's my only finished object this week. Yeah, the rest are all WIPS, just continuations of things that I had started. I'm really trying to get through this one. So this is my crochet WIP. This is my Ariana Cardigan by Amy Christoffers. This is a free pattern on the Barocco website. You can get to it through Ravelry, but you can search for the Ariana Cardigan and then click on the link. It'll take you right to it, or you can just Google it and go right to the pattern. So I assembled. I followed the instructions on the pattern and I assembled, I put together, I crocheted all of my granny squares together. And let me tell you, that was a task. That was, I put off starting that because I had heard so many people complaining about the instructions on the pattern and it being a bit confusing, and like people saying they like thought too much into it and it was throwing them off. And yeah, so I put it off, and then when I said, forget it, I'm just gonna get started and just see for myself. And yeah, it was confusing, but it's not like impossible. It's doable. I didn't number my squares. That's a suggestion in the pattern, is to number your squares so you don't get confused. But I just went row by row and I just referred to the image that she had in the pattern each time. And, you know, slowly and steadily I got there. I had never crocheted granny squares together before. I've crocheted many things, but I've never assembled granny squares together in any way, shape, or form. So that was new to me. And I did feel like some of the instructions could have been a bit more clear in certain areas. I felt as though it just assumed that you would know what to do. So I felt like some steps were not written in there. Now, because I have many, many years of crochet experience, I figured it out and just attached where I thought looked good, that it would match up the rest of the pattern as it was created everywhere else. And it worked, but I could see other people definitely being lost by that. I had to put it aside a couple times and then come back to it because I was just, yeah, I was a little bit unsure, especially the part where there's one part where you have to add in a new square and it's just sort of like flapping and hanging. And I don't know, I didn't know. I was like, this isn't making sense to me. But then it's like, it turns out like once I laid it out properly, like I thought I hadn't attached it properly, but then once I rearranged the way the whole sweater was laying down on my bed, I realized, oh, I just had to fold it. So anyways, I don't want to bore you to death with that, but there is a big problem that I made with this project. So the project calls for Barocco Lanas yarn or wool, whatever you want to call it. And I didn't have access to that. I wanted to use stuff that I had. And so when I looked at that, when I looked up that yarn on Ravelry, it had it listed as, was it on Ravelry that I checked? I had checked on Ravelry and I checked, like I Googled it. And in one of the places, I think it was on Ravelry, it listed it as a worsted. So my brain right away just went to, oh, perfect. I have some woolies in my stash, some Lion Brand woolies, and that's a worsted. So I'm just gonna go with that and I'll gauge swatch with that. No big deal. So that's what I did. And then the gauge said, when you make your square, it should be 5 inches across, and that's not including the final color. So when I made my square, I measured 5 inches across and I was good from the pink to the pink. But when I made this cardigan and I assembled it and I tried it on, it was massive. And I made the smaller size and it was massive. And I was like, what did I do wrong? I could not figure this out. I'm like, I don't understand here. I'm like, okay. So then I went back and I checked the yarn. I'm like, okay, what is this Barocco Lannis? Is it in fact worsted or not? So then I did a deeper search on Google, and more places that I was checking had it listed as a DK. Okay, well, still, even if it was a DK, if I had gotten gauge, that shouldn't have been an issue. I'm like, I measured and it said 5 inches. So I went back and I read the gauge. So on the pattern, it said square will measure like 5 inches. And then I didn't realize that the sentence continued on the next line. And it said, so it said 5 inches across, but I didn't realize it continued on the next line, and it said the diagonal. So 5 inches across on the diagonal. Well, that's a big difference. I wish it was all in one line. I mean, it's my fault, I guess, ultimately. I don't know how I didn't see that. I really don't know. So when I measured my gauge, I measured width-wise. So from the pink to the pink, it was 5 inches. But that's not where I was supposed to measure the gauge. I was supposed to measure on the diagonal from one corner to the other corner. And when I measured mine, so my squares were too huge because my actual measurement is 6 inches. So each of my squares is 1 inch too big. So no wonder my cardigan is enormous. So I threw it in timeout and I was just devastated. I'm like, I put so much work into this. I don't want to rip it out. I don't want to redo every square. What am I going to do? So my poor husband had to listen to me whine and complain about this. I didn't know what to do. I'm like, what do I do? I don't know enough about putting things together with crochet squares to know how to reshape this garment with less squares. Like, I don't know. And I looked up, can I shrink woolies? Well, no, you can't. I could maybe felt it, but I don't want to do that and then take the risk of screwing that up too. So I was talking with my husband, and as I'm talking to him, so I tried it on and I showed him how enormous it was. And then it dawned on me. I was like, wait a minute. What if, okay, because let me show you. I want to stand up. I've got like shorts on, like house shorts. Okay, so let me see. Okay, there we go. That's okay. So doesn't look too bad there, right? Well, you can you see how this is folded over here? All this was extra. Can you see that? That's all extra. I tucked it back. So what I'm gonna do, can you see that? I pinned it all back. I'm gonna sew that down after. So instead of having that, because with those out normal, like this sweater like ends up wrapping over, it's like humongous. So instead I tucked it back, and I'm just gonna attach the what's it called, neckline, hemline, button band, whatever it is. I'm just going to attach it on this folded edge, and the hemline's knitted, like the neck band or whatever this is called, the button band is knitted. So I'm just going to do it on this edge, and then, you know, hopefully I'll like it. And if I like it, then I'll just, after it's done, I'll actually sew this part down. The only thing is it messes up the neckline a bit, right? Because in the pattern, it was sort of more of like a sweetheart neckline a little bit. Like there should be more at this point. Like if you can see, hold on. Some of my threads are coming loose. I haven't sewn them in yet. There. So you can see here, it comes like this. and then like this. So it should have, like with all this out, like it should have kept coming down more. But mine was so huge, it kept coming across here, and then this one kept coming across here. So by folding it over and tucking it back, I've made this line shorter on both these ends. So I just have to be careful. The only part it's going to affect is how many stitches I have to pick up there for knitting. So I'm a little bit hopeful now that I can salvage this. The only part that's still humongous is the sleeves. But if I can cinch in the body like this, then I don't think the sleeves will look too horrible. I think they'll look okay. Like once I have the cuffs on, I wear things pretty big anyways. I don't understand. Like I read many people's reviews on Ravelry that they took out a square from the armpit. And I didn't understand how they did that or what they did. I wish they were more specific, because now that I've done this, I can see why they took out a square to make the arms like tinier. Like, yeah, I don't need all this here, but I can't go back and change it now. I'd have to undo all of this, and I don't even know what to do, even if I were to do that. So, and then the final thing was, like, I loved the colors when I was making it, but I don't know if I love them all sewn together. I kind of feel like there needed to be a higher contrast when sewn together. Like I thought I would like this neutral color, but I think maybe it would have looked better with black to join. But then I'm convincing myself, like, no, because this way I can wear it year round. Like sometimes when things have black on them, I kind of feel like they're only like good for fall or winter and not really spring or summer. And this way, if there's a cool evening, like I can throw this on, or I don't know. Anyways, so that is my Ariana cardigan. It's in process, in progress, whatever you want to call it. I feel like I have done a lot. So my plan today was to pick up stitches and to start, like, I want to get the stitches picked up all around the button band and the neck band and the hem ribbing, but that didn't happen because I was exhausted. Okay, just give me a second. My son's calling me. All right, I'm so sorry about that, but I had to help my son with something. Okay, so moving on, my next work in progress is living in this adorable gnome bag from Ginger Snap That. It's a Christmas bag, but it's big enough for my project, so I use it. All right, so this is a project that I was working on last fall. It's the Twist and Turns knit along, the Stephen West knit along, and yeah, I am very far behind, but I have made a lot of progress in the last 2 weeks. So let me show you. I put in a progress keeper to show you where. Okay, so the last time we spoke, I was here, right here. So I knit up the rest of these stripes and connected that whole side. I love the way the colors are playing with each other. And I also started this side. So this little, oh boy, my yarn is all tangled. Okay, here we go. So I started this little landing strip over here. There we go. It's so pretty. You see that little wavy cable design there? I love it. So I have, let me check my pattern. I have about 2 repeats left, and then I'm done that, and then I can move on to the stripe section. So I'm not working on it too much every day. I try to do at least 30 minutes a day, and you know, it seems to be working. So I think it will look lovely. I don't remember really too many of the colors. The gray one was by Lullaby, which was a knit crate yarn, and it's a gorgeous yarn. It got me to love non-superwash wool because it's a non-superwash. It's a Peruvian Highland wool. The pink one is by Explorer Knits, and it is called Fiore. It was from her Italy collection a few years ago. And the purple one, ooh, what's the purple one? I'll check, I have it here, hold on. I'm just trying to wrap this up so it doesn't get too tangled in my bag. Here we go. Let me see. Just wind this up because somehow a whole bunch of it came undone in my bag. Okay, so the purple one is Cozy Posy Yarn Co. And the color is, oh boy, I'm reading upside down. Fancy. Colorway's Fancy. And all the bases are different. They are all different bases, so it is what it is. I just wanted to use up stuff that I had in my stash. The pink was something that I had used to make a ranunculus, and then I had a lot of leftovers. The purple was just a single skein sitting in my stash, and the gray, I had 2 skeins from a knit crate that I had never used, and I was like, well, I never liked it much, and it was just sitting there, and I had no plans for it. I thought it looked great with those colors to pair together, and I think it was like meant to be because I realized through knitting it how amazing it feels, and I love it. Okay, so that is the twists and turns cow. Oh, okay, so I showed you the socks I finished for one of my twin nieces for her 19th birthday. So the other sock for my other niece, who's going to also be 19 because they're twins, it's also going to be a shorty. So this is the other one that I found that in my stash of scraps. This is by Comfy Cozy Knits. It is called The Beat Goes On. It was sort of like a throwback to the 80s. It's got some neons in there. And this is how it's knitting up. I had knit myself a full size sock in these probably 2 podcasts ago, and I absolutely love them, and I had enough left over to make a pair for Emily. So that's what this is going to be. These are also shorties, and doing the exact same thing that I explained to you with the pink socks. The contrast color is a yarn by Ken Yarn called Telekinesis, which I had left over from a shawl that I had made, and it pairs up perfectly. So I'm just knitting on the foot right now. So she is a slightly larger shoe size. So I'm going to knit the body of that foot to about 8 1/4 inches before I knit the toe. So I'm gonna get that done because their birthday is coming up soon. So I feel like I could have finished these other projects, but I ended up putting everything on hold so I could quickly cast on and finish these socks. Sorry if you hear barking. My older kids just got home from school. I'm just gonna keep going though. All right, So my last work in progress, yes, this is my last work in progress, is my Diaphanous Raglan. And guys, I'm so happy. I'm loving this so much. Here we go. I took some videos of me like trying it on, and here we go. Okay, so 1 second. That's the back. There we go. Here it is. I'll put in some videos too, and you can hear my thoughts talking about it. Maybe, I'm not sure. I might.
Hey friends. Okay, so first of all, I've lost my voice, so forgive me. I hope you can hear me. So I spent the last few days since the last podcast trying to get through the body of the Diaphanous Raglan. Oh, tuck that in. And I finished knitting the 4 inches of the hem that I wanted. That's not what was called for in the pattern, but that's what I wanted. Excuse me. And then I thought, let me try it on before I bind off to see if it's fitting good. And I don't know if you can see. Anyways, I tried it on a couple nights ago and I was so disheartened. I really was not liking at all the way it fit. I felt like it was far too short, even though I already added double the length that was required from the pattern. So I didn't know what to do. I put it aside and I thought about it for a couple days. And I thought, okay, I'll probably have to go back and add length. And then I thought about it and I'm like, well, I'm not gonna add length to the rib because I don't want anything longer than 4 inches. So I'm just gonna bind it off. Sorry if you hear my kids. So I'm just gonna bind off the hem because regardless, I won't be adding length by adding to the hem. So I'll bind it off, which I just did. And if anything, I'll have to do some sweater surgery and cut in here and add length through the midsection. Anyways, I thought I'd try it on again just to get a look and feel at how it is fitting without the cords attached, you know, since I bound off. And it's fitting much better. I guess with the cords it was like riding up, so it is fitting much better. So I'm actually going to knit the neckline and then I'm going to block it. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to block it because this is all superwash yarn and I'm thinking it's going to grow quite a bit. I'm hoping it'll grow at least 2 inches. Anyways, so that's what I'm going to do. And even if I get a little bit of length out of it, I think that'll be good because I do plan on wearing it with some high-waisted pants. So just a minute. Anyways, that's where we are with the Diaphanous Raglan, and I will keep you updated on whatever I decide to do. Right now the sleeves fit a bit tight, but I think that's because I have them on the stitch holders. Yeah, I was really nervous that I had chosen the wrong size. We'll see. I'm not sure how, like, I like this here. I don't want the neckline to bring it up too much and shorten it too much. So that's why I want to do the neckline before I block it because I know that's going to affect the length. Sorry, I keep going down too low. Anyways, okay, that's my update. I'll keep you informed. Okay, so I'm back. I have done the neckline. I've only done about, I think, 4 rounds. And I think the pattern says to knit the neckline for about 1 inch, but it also says try it on as you go because each round cinches up the neckline quite a bit. And I definitely don't want the neckline cinched in. I like my necklines very wide open. So I'm a little bit torn right now because I don't know what to do. I'm like, okay, do I just bind it off or do I do one more round and then bind it off? I like it the way it is. Part of me thinks maybe the neckline needs to be a little bit bigger, but I don't want to do it too big and then it cinches it up and like I won't like that. I don't know. Okay. I'm not sure. But definitely the length is good. I totally forgot that obviously I would gain some length when I attached the front to the back because there was the original cast on edge there that I wasn't accounting for before. So that gave me some length. And I think probably I'll get 1 inch when I block it. So I won't have to keep doing this. I like it a lot. I want these pieces to stay down properly. But I think it's the cord around the neckline that's pulling them up right now. So I don't know what to do. I just want to do it and get it done. I want to do it properly. And yeah, okay. So that's it. Just wanted to keep you updated.
Not sure. But I was very unsure about the length. Then I was unsure how much I wanted to knit, how wide I wanted to knit the neckband. But I ended up just making some decisions and going for it. So I have knitted the neckband. I have done a very loose bind off. And why am I still attached? I don't remember. I might have been too tired to actually finish it off. So I need to snip my yarn there. I probably wanted to try it on one last time to make sure the neckband was good. And then I just have to pick up and knit the sleeves. Now the sleeves is my next debate. That's kind of why I haven't done this yet, aside from the fact that I'm trying to get the socks knit up, is because the pattern says that for the sleeves, so there's many different options for this different shape sleeves. I want to make the bishop sleeve, and it says to use 2 needle sizes larger than your main needle size. It says if you prefer a slimmer sleeve, feel free to use your main needle size rather than going up 2 sizes. I just want someone to tell me what to do. I don't want to make these decisions. I really like bishop sleeves and I like the big flowy look. So I'll probably go up the 2 needle sizes, I think. I don't know. Maybe just 1 needle size. I definitely won't stay at the same needle size, but I'm like, okay, do I go up 1 needle size or 2 needle sizes like the pattern said to? I'm torn. I don't know. What would you do? If you like bishop sleeves, what would you do? But I think I'm very happy with the length. I am so happy that I did the 4-inch ribbing, and I know it's gonna grow. Like I think I'm gonna get at least an inch in length with blocking. So I can't wait. And of course now the weather has turned, so well, I mean it could get cold again, I don't know, but I don't know what the chances are that I'll be able to actually wear this once it's done. But I'm like, it's one of those things that when I tried it on the first time, I was like so disappointed, and I waited a couple of days and then I tried it on again and I was like, oh, wait a minute, this really actually looks pretty good. Did I make this? Wow, pretty good. All right, So what yarn have I used? So I used Autumn and Indigo in a color Whisper for the main body. Here we go. It's this. I still have 2 skeins left. I've only used 1 skein for all of this body. 1 skein for this whole body. That's crazy. It's a very subtle, like creamy color with little hints or washes of like a pinky purple through it. And it's a single ply. And I know everybody says, oh, don't make a garment with single ply. But it was sitting on my shelf and I bought it back when I knew nothing about making garments. And I just thought it was pretty. And when I found that out, it just sat there. So I recently decided, well, I'm going to use it, but I'm going to pair it up with the Shibui Silk Mohair, Shibui Silk Cloud, which I also have. I'm so bummed that they've gone out of business because their mohair is like the only one that doesn't really make me itch. It has such a high silk content. But whatever, I'll find other ones with a high silk content. So I use that in the white. And then I'm also pairing it up with a strand of this, I don't know if you can see the little sequin yarn there. It's Lang Paillette. I shall show you. No, it's not. What am I saying? It's Lana Gatto. Lana Gatto Paillette. And it's in the colorway Ecru, 8599. So I had ordered the initial 2 balls of that sequin yarn from a place in Canada, out west, and it was like something ridiculous, the price of it. And I ran out and I needed more. No, I didn't run out because I hadn't started the project yet, but I knew I would need more. And I was like, oh, I don't want to spend too much. And I started sort of Googling like who sells the yarn. And up popped a little yarn shop called Cowgirl Yarn, I think in Montana. And they had it for such an amazing price. And it was like $5 a ball compared to like the 17 or 20 something that I paid per ball. I'm like, why? Why do people feel the need to like rip you off? Like, I don't know. I thought it was ridiculous. So I went to Cowgirl Yarn's website and I ordered about 6 of them. Because I would rather give them my money and pay the exchange and the shipping than order from somewhere closer that's charging me a shit ton more money for no reason. So, and along with it, they sent me the most adorable little stitch marker, which do I even have here? It's so cute. It's a little progress keeper. It's a little, oh, it's so cute. Hold on. I think I have it here. I do. Look how cute this is. You know, like it's the small touches. It's a little star with a little cowboy hat on it. Or maybe a cowgirl hat. And I thought that was the best. So it's a little stitch marker, not a progress keeper. But I loved it. With a very thoughtful, like handwritten note to me saying that she had recently used the same sequin yarn in a project that she was making for herself. And the project was so soft and beautiful. And she hopes that I love it. I'm like, you know, none of those extra steps were necessary, but they were so appreciated. So Cowgirl Yarn, guys, like, check them out. All right, so a couple weeks ago, we had local yarn store day, April, what was it, 20, 29th, maybe 28th, I don't remember. And so some of the stores around me obviously were having sales and I'd like to support them, but I was super busy and couldn't get to them, so I just ordered online. All right, so I'm gonna go through what I got. So from Romney Wools, I ordered 4 of this BC Garn Tussa Tweed. Can you guess? Can you guess what I'm gonna make with that? Look at them. It's a beautiful coral yellow color. Online it's called coral yellow or yellow coral. On here it has no name. But this is Tussa Tweed, and I am going to make a Suri shirt. So Kadri's new pattern, the Suri shirt, I've loved it since I saw it. I'm like, ooh, I need to make that. And I was tempted to go with just like a regular neutral color or a solid or a tonal, but my color, love, and heart couldn't resist this. So I got that. Then Rebecca Clow, also known as the Crayabea, released her corn cardigan a few weeks back, or maybe at the beginning of April. And okay, I'll be very honest, when I first saw it, I wasn't feeling it. I was like, I don't know why everybody's making a big fuss. I don't really like this very much. I don't know why I don't seem to like the patterns that everybody else loves. And then I saw one tester's version, and that was Kokon Knits. And she made it in like a very like corally pink with a matching bralette underneath. And I was sold. I'm like, ooh, yes, I like that. And I've always wanted to try this Noro Kakagori. So I bought Noro Kakagori. And let me just tell you a little bit about this. So it is 50% cotton, 30% silk, and 10% viscose, 10% polyamide. I believe it's a DK. Yes, it's a number 3. It's a DK. So, online on the screen, so I ordered these from Knitting Loft, but everywhere I checked online, every image I Googled, every project I searched that was made with this, the pictures all looked so much brighter. And then when I got this, it looked so dull. So I'm not loving the color as much as I did in the pictures. But I'm hoping that when it's knit up, it'll be one of those ones that like when it's knit up, you love it. So the one would have been plenty, absolutely plenty to make that cardigan, because one of these cakes has 600 meters, which is like close to 700 yards. It's like 600 and like, what, 80 yards or something like that? I don't know. It's a lot of yards. But I wanted the matching bralette underneath. And so the tester who I saw with the matching bralette, the one she had was the Sugar Boo bralette, also by Kadri. So and it's also a DK, so I got 2 of these just so that I could do the matching one. All right, so that was from the Knitting Loft, and then also from the Knitting Loft was these, because I have had my eye on the promenade top, promenade blouse or promenade top? I think it's promenade blouse. I'll put a picture and I'll let you know. I think it's also by Kadri. Anyways, and it's more of like a fall winter top. It's kind of striped with a regular yarn and then a mohair yarn. I had initially, without even looking at it, well, I had looked at it and I thought it was all fingering. So I had purchased yarn for it about a year ago. And then when I went to get started on it, I realized it wasn't all fingering. Like the more solid part was actually a DK, and then the sheer part was a mohair. So when the sale was happening, I thought, oh, I'm just gonna get the yarn that the designer actually used because they sell it here. So she used Rowan Alpaca Classic. It's a DK, and for the size that I want to knit, I would only need three balls, and this is in the colorway, I don't remember what they called it online, and they don't have a colorway written on here. I can't even read that color number. 101? I think it's 101. And it's 57% alpaca and 43% cotton. So for the mohair, I would only need one skein. So I was looking at Diaphanous, and I love both of these. This one is Vintage Grello, and this one is Street Art. So I couldn't decide. I wanted to see how they would look paired up with the actual yarn. And while I think they would both look good, sorry, there goes my dog again. I think these are the winners right here. So these are going to be the ones that become the promenade top, Street Art. And I will save this one for something else. So the Diaphanous mohair is actually 70% mohair and 30% silk. So that's a pretty high content. It's not as high as the Shabui Silk Cloud because that's like 40% silk, but I'm hoping that it's not gonna itch me to death. And the last two acquisitions I got were from another store called Unit Toronto, and that was some Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in the colorway Copper. So I got 3 of these. And I got 2 in the colorway Olive. And my plan with these is to make some camisole tops or tank tops. Not sure exactly which design yet, but something like that. And I thought that they would look nice on my skin. Usually for summer I go for like bright pinks and corals and like crazy bright colors, but I thought these would look really lovely on my skin tone. So that's what I did. I could use another ball of the olive, but they didn't have in the store. They didn't have. So I only got the 2 that they had, and I'll see if the Knitting Loft has another one. Yeah, so that will keep me busy for a little while. All right, I'm so sorry again for that last interruption. My son again needed me. So as I was saying, I don't know yet which patterns I'm going to knit with those yarns for the Knitting for Olive, but it'll be something summery, I think. We'll see, I might change my mind. Regardless, everything was a great deal. I got to support 3 different local yarn stores. I would have loved to actually go in person, but I just couldn't. My daughter had dance competitions, there were birthday parties, there were all sorts of things, all in the midst of concussion recovery mode, and you know, I just gotta take it easy, and some days I just can't do it all. So I have not been reading anything lately. I don't know. Anything else? I have been watching Rabbit Hole with my husband. It's we're pretty into it. It's quite interesting. It's sort of like government espionage and a lot of secrets and a lot of twisted storylines and things like that. So That's keeping us on our toes. And I am also watching by myself, because my husband won't get into it, Outer Banks, which I think, I seem like everybody's already seen it. I don't know why I'm so late to the party, but I really love it, and I'm on the 3rd season, so about halfway through that. And that's it. I don't want to keep you too much longer. I've had to start and stop this a few times, so I'm not sure exactly how long it's been already. But, you know, I hope you've liked what you've seen. Again, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will catch you back here, hopefully not too long from now, hopefully in just a couple weeks. All right, please drop a comment, let me know anything at all that you want to share. Ask me a question. Maybe if you guys ask me some questions, I'll share some answers in an upcoming podcast. Okay, so take care. I wish everybody health and happy knitting. Bye guys.